Welcome to our podcast. Today we'll talk about a real case that has caused intrigue all around the world. The mysterious disappearance of Kris Kreemers and Lisanne Froon, two young Dutch women who in 2014 traveled to Panama in search of adventure and never returned.
Kris and Lisanne were inseparable friends, university students full of dreams. They arrived in Panama in March 2014, aiming to learn Spanish, volunteer, and explore the country's natural beauty. They settled in the town of Boquete, a place surrounded by mountains, rivers, and dense jungles, famous for adventure tourism. Among the most visited trails was El Pianista, a route that starts easy but soon becomes complicated and dangerous.
On April 1st, the girls decided to hike El Pianista. At first, everything seemed normal. They took photos, smiled, and enjoyed the scenery. But some problems began. They tried to call in emergency services, first 112 and then 911, but there was no signal. For days, their phones turned on and off until they finally became endless.
2 months later, Lisanne's backpack was found by a river with her belongings intact: passport, glasses, bottles, folded bras, cell phones, and the camera. And the images revealed something strange. More than 90 photos taken at night in completely darkness, showing branches, stones, and even the back of Chris' head. Eventually, human remains were found: bones, a foot inside a boot, and a pair of shorts. The condition of the remains raised more questions than answers.
The official version says it was an accident. One of them fell from on an improvised rope bridge, and the other tried to help, getting swept away by the river. The hungry animals and pages of the time would have done the rest. But other theories exist. They could have been attacked or followed by someone. Someone might have intentionally placed the backpack to be found. The night the night photos could have been an attempt to call for help or the live evidence. No, the mysteries remains unsolved and no explanations fully close the case.
One prevailing theory suggests that Kris and Lisanne became lost after straying off the main trail. The dense jungle terrain, combined with challenging weather conditions, may have led to disorientation and exhaustion. The emergency calls indicate they were seeking help, but were unable to establish contact due to the poor reception. The discovery of the remains scattered along the river suggests they may have succumbed to the elements and injuries sustained during their ordeal. However, the exact circumstances remain unclear, leaving room for speculation and further investigations.
For me, this case is a mix of tragedy and misery. Most likely is it was an accident in the jungle, worsened by inexperience, the hostile terrain, and perhaps an injury that prevented them from moving forward. However, there are details impossible to ignore: the impact backpack, the night photos, the bones in different condition. All of this keeps doubt alive. More than just an accident, I see as an unsolved enigma, proving just how fragile life can be when facing the unknown.
The first is the strange staying left of their phones. There were dozens filing attempts to call 911 with a confusing unknown partner that makes no sense. And if that was a mystery, the camera is a nightmare. On April 8th, almost 1,000 photos were taken in complete darkness, most the blurry shots on flashes, or plastic bags with no logical explanation. It was where desperate attempt to signal something in the night. Finally, the discovery of their remains added more questions. Some of their bones were found at the same area, but the same clothes were clean and bleeding, while the Kris had tissue of the attacked. Both the bodies would have responded to the same conditions. So, how is a difference possible? Were inconsistencies of the jungle accident very difficult to accept, leaving the case as a true enigma.
This tape leaves us with more questions than answers. Was this really an accident, or was someone else involved? What is there gained in that Kris and Lisanne sound adventure and found dead under inexplicable circumstances? Today, more than a decade later, their story remains a reminder of how dangerous nature can be, and that not all truth comes to the light. And you, what do you think happened in the Panamanian jungle?